Welcome back to B3 while we are building business bridges. I'm Shara. I am the owner of Sift and Sort, a downsizing and organizing company, helping you simplify your life. And my lovely co-host, Diane Campbell. Welcome, Diane.
Well, it's great to be here. I wouldn't do this podcast with anyone else but you.
Oh, I love that.
But I am the owner of Boney Booties Beach Rentals. Here we go.
Here we go.
Flagler electric bike rentals, which are kind of operating the same, and a little business called Tree Trends with my husband Dan, where we make small wooden things. But today, it's not about us. It's about Miss Chelsea Peace, who is in the house, who is a creator. Welcome to the podcast, Miss Chelsea.
Hi.
And tell us what you do.
Oh my gosh, this is the hardest question that I have to answer.
You got to nail that one down,
I'm telling you. So like when I explain it to people, it depends on what room I'm in. Yes. I have to know my customer. But since we're talking about everything that I do, I'll tell you everything that I do.
Okay. We only have 30 minutes.
It's okay. I can give you the condensed version. So I'm a creator, which means every experience that I've ever gone through, I use it to create something beautiful to help other people. So I have 3 podcasts. I wrote a book.
Okay.
I have 300,000 followers that are all women.
Holy cow.
Yes, across the interwebs.
We're going to dig into that one.
Okay. And I was also a sales and marketing coach for a large corporation. I typically don't name them when I'm online.
No.
For a long time, 6 years. And I was one of the best in my business. And I helped run 7 businesses that were multi-million-dollar annual revenue generators. And I'm used to coaching business owners. So what I do and how I represent myself in my community is I'm a brand strategist.
Got it. Okay, I can understand brand strategist, but that's a lot.
It's a lot.
Is that all you do?
No, I am a mom.
So you're a mom.
Yes.
I know you have some personal challenges that you've overcome.
Right. I've lost 230 something pounds.
Girl.
Been through a divorce.
That's like a whole nother person sitting beside us.
And then count him too, right? Like,
Are you counting him in that number?
No.
230
and 155. You know what I'm saying?
That's over 300 and whatever. Pushing 4.
All right, so I want to rewind.
Okay,
so how long have you been in Palm Coast?
Since 2019. But a fun fact, I went to high school in St. Augustine, Florida, and graduated from Pedro Menendez. So I've been in this area for much of my life.
Interesting.
I moved away and came back. My career actually brought me back to Palm Coast.
So can you start with how you started and how losing all this weight, becoming a mom, losing the husband, just break it down for us so we can dive into
my gosh,
why you are who you are.
It's like I never thought you would ask. Okay, so if we want to go full tilt into the story, Seasons of Her Official is my podcast where I tell you all about my survival codes that I unlearned. You know, I feel like the world programs us, whether it's our parents, it's the media, it's that little voice inside of our heads that try to tell us that we're not good enough or we can't do something or we should show up this way. That's what I talk about on Seasons of Her, because that's where I show up in the life.
I'm sorry, it's called Seasons of Her.
Seasons of Her.
I love that.
Yeah. chelseapeace.com/podcasts. I make it easy on you. So that's where I talk about that. And realistically, it just is a domino effect of choosing yourself. I was over 430 pounds, and this is like my first canon event. I took my kids to Disney World, and I paid for my best friend and her fiance at the time to go with us. I had 2 4-year-old twins. My ex didn't like roller coasters or anything. He's not about standing in lines. And I'm like, well, I can't take them to a theme park at 450 pounds, right? And somebody's got to ride with them. So I paid for my friends to go, and I'm following them around, and I'm making all these awesome videos of them. But at one point, I'm standing here, and I'm realizing that they're living their life over there, and I'm observing it. I'm not in it with them.
Well, that kind of sucks.
Yeah. It was like an aha moment of I got to do something different, because I don't want to watch their life like a movie. I want to be in it with them.
That's sad too, in a way that you had to see that to come to some more decisions.
Yeah, but think about this, right? When you go to the doctor, you're going to the doctor for a checkup. You probably aren't going to like go full force into a weight loss situation unless he says, if you don't change what you're doing right now, you're going to die. So we as humans have to have like a consequence that is so big for us to
Mhm,
realize, like, I'm choosing this right now because
mhm,
everything we do as humans is a choice. So I was choosing to be an emotional eater and manage my depression through eating versus facing my biggest fears that I had about myself. And I ended up, I got bariatric surgery and I started going to therapy and I started learning more about myself and why I am the way that I am. And it started making me stand on business about what I deserved, whether it
Oh,
was,
isn't that interesting? So
yes,
it is helpful to have somebody to talk to. Professional counseling is good.
absolutely. And I did a lot of therapy and it helped me to learn like why I was the way that I was. But I then got a coach. I hired a life coach and it helped me to see like, wow, I'm a coach from a sales perspective at the company that I work for every day. And I help change people's lives on a daily basis. They tell me all the time I help them with more than just their business. And so it helped me realize like, oh, you're a life coach. Wait a minute.
mhm,
When you change a person's business, let's just pretend
Yeah.
you're changing a person's business and you're changing it because they're probably making more money. They're playing more with that money
Yep.
and they're happier because of the things they're able to do and play.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to do that?
Absolutely.
I have to commend you
Thanks.
because I hear so many stories and, you watch all these TikTokers and influencers and I'm thinking, to some of these people, why are you not sharing your story? This is what I'm thinking to myself, through these people. And I'm like, you have been through so much. There are other people that are going out there that would watch you and clearly have hundreds of thousands of followers
Mm-hmm.
watching you do the simplest things because of your life transformation, because you're not the only one who has gone through something like this.
Right.
But I'm impressed that you took that to the next level and shared it. I mean, anybody going, autism, anything that they're going through that somebody else can watch and listen and know that they could also be successful.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Perspective in life can change the way that you approach your everyday life. And that is one thing that the hardest season of my life, which was my divorce, provided me was an opportunity I wrote about it in a book. It's launching in June, but it took me living out of my car for a week and climbing mountains and sitting with God on the side of a mountain and realizing how small I am, but how many of me there are in the world who are going through the same things. And I have a voice, and if I don't use it, then I am putting God's work to waste.
Hmm. What was your aha moment to start uh, going through the divorce proceedings or to begin that process and then to begin a therapy process and to begin reaching out into a business, all of that?
Yeah, like
Just wrap it up a little nutshell.
Yeah.
yeah, nothing that I do is simple, so I guess
No,
it's
nothing.
easy to always correlate all of those things together. But for me, it always goes back to that inner child. Okay, therapy for a child. I put my kids in therapy because of my divorce. Right, I wanted to make sure that my kids had someone the way that they could articulate what they're feeling. Every adult that's walking around today has an inner child in them, right? But the thing is at a young age, if you get your kid into therapy at 8, 9, 10 years old, which is what I did, I learned that therapy at that age is not, how did that make you feel? It's actually, well, that sounds like jealousy. And it's naming it and it's giving it a feeling. And you know that it's okay for you to feel that way, but why do you feel that way? And
Hmm.
teaching kids literacy around it. A lot of adults are just walking around not being able to name their own emotions or manage their emotions. And that's why we do the things that we do, why we avoid things. That's why we are addicted to things, because whatever we're addicted to, we're taking all of that in instead of facing
Reality.
The
reality.
reality of it.
I know we're going to have Iola on here, but, she did say something in one of her presentations, and we'll get into Iola. But, she said, when your parents say, if you cry, stop crying, I'll give you something to cry about.
Yeah.
Things like that, that embeds, those expressions that you
I
say.
could raise my hand to
I
that.
mean, all of those expressions that we grew up with was like, oh, well, I can't cry now, like just with her grieving, which we'll get into.
Uh huh.
But, I can't cry because is it something to cry about? And you start justifying and thinking, is it?
Right.
And questioning yourself of your own being and how to react or grieve or whatever may come with those
Yeah.
emotions.
So the original question was, what was my aha moment? Is I am showing my daughters what love looks like by staying in this marriage. And I formed my identity of what a wife should do and what a marriage should look like around the fact that my parents were the only parents that were still married when I was a kid. Everybody else went mom's house, dad's house, and I saw how toxic those situations were. So my parents still being together, they must have the code cracked. But what I saw was two emotionally immature people who cannot communicate about how to make each other feel safe. They're just constantly arguing and thinking that's what love is. So to go back to what made me decide that I needed to do better was all the therapy that I did taught me that my feelings matter. And by me staying in a marriage where I was being taught that my feelings didn't matter, I was showing my children that their feelings don't matter.
So you really literally are breaking the chain, or hoping to break the chain of that continuing in your girls' relationships
That's
and marriages.
why I do everything that I do,
Right.
because I wanted to be my mom whenever I was growing up
Mhm.
until a stroke obliterated everything that she ever wanted for her future. She had to relearn how to talk, relearn how to walk. Relearn how to talk, write, everything. She was the GM of the Flying J truck stop in St. Augustine, Florida. That's what brought us to this area originally. To see it all ripped from her because of one thing that she couldn't control, and it completely obliterated who I thought she was as a person. Like, I know my daughter's looking at me in all of these things that life is throwing at me. They're basing what they're capable of off of everything that I overcome. So I need to be a superhero.
Mhm. I often tell my girls to, in their singleness, when, they're still single and looking for dating, find someone like your father.
Mm-hmm.
There's a perfect example of what a husband and dad is, and they have kept that in their head.
That's very rare, though, Diane, that you
I
have a
know.
parent that you could tell your kids that this is who you need to
Find someone like your
find.
father.
And that is so true. And that is why I'm so passionate about the life coaching, the women's transformational coaching that I do, is because so many of us, again, we are walking around not able to communicate our emotions properly. So we only know unhealthy communication, only know unhealthy relationship dynamics. So I owe it to the women that I work with to show them, like, hey, like, so you do realize that you are forfeiting everything that you told me was really important to you to keep this man in your life. But he's making you feel this way, this way, this way, and your daughter's watching. You see that, right? And all I offer them is perspective and an opportunity to make a different choice and coach them through it. That's what I do. And that's how I do brand strategy too, right? You do realize you told me this was your priority, but you're showing up this way.
So you're calling people on the carpet.
That's what I'm great at.
You
I
like
love
carpets.
you. I will cheer you on.
But through your experiences, you're able to do that because you have something to relate to. It's not just like you're pulling things out of the air
Right.
and giving
I went to
advice.
this seminar and they gave me a book on this.
Right.
Now I can teach you? No.
Right.
And that's one of my biggest pet peeves is whenever somebody just regurgitates what they've learned. I don't learn that way. I'm a very tactile learner. I have to fall off the bike 17 times, okay? And that's what you get when you work with me is I have literally gone through it. If I haven't gone through it, I'm like, yeah, I haven't really gone through that. We could work on that together though, right? Like, I'm not afraid of learning. But that's what made me make my decision, right? That was my aha moment. And that's why I do everything that I do. So what's your next question? Have I answered that one?
How is it gone? So you made the decision.
Yes.
But you still have to put that into action.
Yes.
What did you do?
Oh my gosh. I lost everything. Everything. Because I could no longer, once you see how much happiness can come from choosing yourself and being authentic, when you are forced to thrive or try to thrive in dynamics that no longer align with you, you eventually get too big for that situation and you have to be okay with losing it. Because
It's
God will
like
make
taking off the rose-colored glasses.
Yeah. My favorite way to say it is like God's going to he's got to take something from you to give you what you want. So if I need a new dining room set, I have to get rid of the one that I have so I can put it, I can't have both.
Well, you could, but that would be her problem. Sift and sort.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I just want to touch on, because I have divorced parents and I had a great relationship with both of them. But knowing, like, being a parent is obviously the hardest thing because you just naturally acting, not realizing that what you're portraying to your kids or what they see, not knowing the intention. And I had a point and I forgot, and it was pretty good.
Okay.
Oh, man.
There's no Parenting 101
No.
book.
Oh, so okay, thank you.
You're
And it didn't
welcome.
that
I don't
didn't
know
help,
how
like,
that related to it.
so they didn't have a great relationship. I had 2 brothers, there was 3 of us in the house, my father was basically taking care of all of us,
Mhm.
and my mother had enough. And so she was seeing a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist said, "Well, leave him." And she says, "Okay, easier said than done. What am I doing with 3 kids as a single mother? Going back to work, never seeing the kids." And, you justify all these things like, well, this and that. So that is very strong of anyone to be able to make a decision at the right time, but you all justify, well, if I don't leave or I do leave, like what comes with those consequences?
Yeah.
And I think that's the hardest part of making those big life-changing decisions,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to a divorce and you have children and what to do and what's going to come from that.
It's beautiful that you say that. Whether I am working with a woman transforming her life or working with a business owner transforming the way that they show up in the world, it's always a fear that prevents them from moving to the next level.
Mhm.
They're afraid of worst case scenario. But what I do as a coach is I remind you that, okay, that is a possibility, but let's look at the complete opposite of that. What would be the best case scenario? Okay, and you do realize that life happens and, like, we're probably gonna land somewhere right in the middle. Like, 9 times out of 10, that thing that you're afraid of the most is not gonna be what happens.
But how do you encourage someone to like make that decision to say, get divorced, leave your husband, take your kids, move away, get an apartment? I mean,
Then you're talking about wrapping finances into that
right,
and
right.
kids' emotions.
Yes.
So it's a big package.
So it's not that I don't tell you to make that decision. My thing is I'm always asking you to operate out of alignment and ask yourself, what would make you happier? So, I have the Uncontested podcast with Stacy that we do every week, and we're talking about high conflict divorce and custody. And one of the topics that just came up that we're going to be talking about soon is how do you know when it is the right move for you to say, like, this is done? And there are a lot of things that you have to consider. Your life is going to look different. But the best thing that you could ever do for yourself is to be realistic.
Mhm.
Write out a list of, okay, if I stay, this is what I can expect from my life. And if I leave, this is what I could build. This is what could go wrong. And if I'm okay with the consequences or the pros and the cons, you know what I'm saying? Like, how often are we really looking at our decisions in life and saying, like, this is a chess game? If you play chess, I can move this knight. He could take it, but am I willing to lose it?
Mm.
The faster you can get to the point of every decision you make is either pointing you in the direction of the life that you absolutely want, and it may cost you some things, or you stay where you are and you keep complaining about everything that's not working. Those are your choices.
Kind of like in the business world. And that's why this transition I could clearly see
Mhm.
now because there are business owners that are going through the same thing,
Mhm.
not knowing what to do.
It's the laws of the universe, honestly. That's really all it is. And, I'm very spiritual. I'm very, like, I came to know God in my own season, but Him putting me in a position to get closer to Him for nearly 2 years, to see how He's moved in my life and to really step back and reflect on what it's been for, I need to help more people understand to think the way that I think.
Hmm.
And that's what I do. And I question you.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so much media, there's so many influencers, and I say this because I do have 300,000 followers. They want me to influence them.
Mm-hmm.
They're constantly like, I need the link to your shirt. I need the link to your sunglasses. Where did you do this? Where did you do that? And I'm like, girl, I would love it if you just loved whatever you're wearing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Be yourself.
That's a hard thing to do for most people, though, is be themselves. And I've come across that a lot, and it's
Yeah.
very unfortunate. And I don't know if it's confidence. I don't know if it's self-worth.
Could be both.
Yes. Yes.
Let's, if you will, let's
Yeah.
cross over the bridge
Let's do it.
into the business world.
Okay.
We talked a little bit about women and families and transition there.
Mhm.
Tell us what you do for business owners.
The same exact thing.
The same exact thing. That's fair.
Yeah.
But give us a for instance.
Okay. So let's use your business.
Yes, please.
Okay, let's go. So you and I were talking about what you do for a living, and clearly you got into business for a reason.
Yes.
I find your reason. You started because you had something in your heart that pulled on you and said, you need to create something no one else has created before.
Mhm.
And that is what I am doing in front of 300,000 people on a weekly basis. Okay. I am creating things that no one has ever created before. You did that, but and I'm not saying that you specifically,
Mhm.
but anybody who looks up to me, they're like, I don't know how you do that. I'm like,
Right.
you're doing that, but let me help you see that. So I question you. What was your purpose? What was your passion? Who did you have in mind
Mhm.
when you first started this? What problems did they have whenever, you thought about why you were the solution? What problems did they have?
Right.
Okay, great. So now when you're showing up online, me and you just built the entire personality of your business because what I see, especially in our local community, is we have a lot of really passionate business owners who know that they offer a good product. They just are throwing their business cards out on the internet, or I do this, I do this, I do this.
Yeah, we call that just throwing up in the room. It just
Right.
canvas, fire hosing everything.
Right.
Mhm. And this was just selling yourself first. And
Yeah.
that's what it's all about. I mean, even a logo, I'm so fascinated coming up with my logo and coming up with the business name. And I'm like, what did you do? And sometimes there's nothing. It was just, oh, a bird flew by and that was the name of my bit, literally. And I'll tell you more about that after. And I'm like, but there's no passion. There's nothing behind that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, are you a real business owner or are
There's
you just,
something behind my name.
yeah, exactly.
Literally,
Yeah.
a booty.
Literally.
Yeah.
And so that's the passion is like the logo, the name, it just already kind of tells me without even knowing somebody what their passion is and if they even have one.
Yeah. So what I find is a lot of business owners they're either starting out or they've been doing this for a long time and they had the best of intentions when they created their businesses. And then somewhere along the way, they started getting a little apprehensive about like, if I really take the plunge, if I really put myself out there, if I really make this thing as big as I know it can be, it's like they're apprehensive of jumping both feet in.
Mhm.
So all I help them do is build a really strong foundation for them to go out and be authentic and remind them how they're showing up. And just, it's almost like a nervous system soother for you to be able to, after you leave with a meeting with me and we build a foundation for your business, now my hope for you is that every time you go to talk about your business, you have a guardrail that's going to keep you in your
Mm.
comfort zone
Mhm.
of, this is what makes me happy when I talk about my business. That way you come across as passionate and trustworthy, and it helps you build a community of people who believe in it just as much as you do.
Mhm.
That's what I do for businesses.
So do you have packages? How does this work? Do you do free consultations?
I do. So I do have a peace plan is what I call it. So for my business owners, typically I want to meet you first. Let's sit down. Let's have some coffee. I want to know if you and I are even going to work together because I
Mhm.
need to know why you got in business.
Would you refuse to work with someone if the stars didn't align?
Yes. Yes.
What are you looking for there?
You need to have passion
Passion.
for what you do. I will know within the first 5 minutes of meeting you if this is a come up for you. If you are like salivating at how much money you're about to make and all these things, like I can't tug on heartstrings that are attached to an ATM machine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tugging on the heartstrings that got you here in the first place. And that's what's going to carry you across the finish line. But if you're in it for the outcome, there's no reason to do it anyways because
Well,
the outcome is never guaranteed.
I mean, the quick buck, usually that's the first trigger when you're not really, the long term.
Mhm.
But that I think is a huge trigger, the quick buck.
Also, when you think about it, if you have your heart in it and you're going for it and you're showing up passionately with tenacity every single day, trying to build something that you know is important to you, if and when you ever get to the day where you're like, I gave it everything I had, the best thing that you have when you look back on it is, damn, didn't that make me grow?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And if that's what it offers you, then damn, that's what it offered you. And that's beautiful to say. And you can carry that into your next adventure. But you have to be okay with knowing that it's not always going to be the perfect storm.
Mhm.
The small business or business in general is a storm.
Yes.
Mhm.
It's a storm.
Mhm.
And I don't care what anybody says, you're going to have trials and tribulations through all that. It's how you handle those that matters.
Absolutely. And that's
Yeah.
where I help, because it's not just when you start the peace plan with me, right? We meet up for 30 minutes, we find out if we're aligned. If we're aligned, I'm going to ask you right then, when are we booking your foundation session? Your foundation, like I said, 2 hours of nothing but you and me gushing over how beautiful this business is to you and how important it is, and how do we show up to the right people and tell them the right message so that they think of you first when they need what you have to offer. And then I'm in your corner. Monthly after that, I'm checking in with you twice a month for an hour. And then I'm also watching your social media and holding you accountable to what you said you were going to do. I'm not going to let your fear overcome you. I know what your goals are. We mapped it out. I gave you the blueprint. You're not using it. And then I show you you're choosing to stay where you are right now. That's on you. That's not on me. And that's how I help.
Have clients gotten upset when you bring reality to them?
No, because I've priced myself appropriately to where I am not undercutting my value. I know what you're capable of earning when you spend this with me, but it's also at a number to where you kind of hesitate a little bit before you invest it. So you know there's skin in the game for you whenever you come to me. And if you want that growth bad enough, you'll pay for it, and you'll want me to tell you about yourself.
Wow. I love the
Mhm.
straight up
Drop the mic.
honesty. Yeah. And sometimes that's what you need.
That's absolutely
And that's
what
kind
you
of
need.
sometimes what I do too, is, even trying to help people simplify their lives and downsize, and I'm trying to just explain to them, like, do you really need this? And they're like, no. And I'm like, but it took me to ask you that for you to think about, do you really need that?
People don't question themselves enough.
No, they
They really
don't.
don't. And we could talk all day about that stuff, but I'll tell you, it's really hard to explain what I do to people. Apparently, we can do it in under 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, we've done a good job of trying to explain it, but the proof is in the pudding. You'll have some results, I'm sure, in your business. I'm guessing that it's relatively new, right?
yeah,
But you're ready to rock this thing out.
I'm ready to rock it out. And I know without a shadow of a doubt that whether or not what we do gets us the big dream that we have, we're going to make progress,
Hmm.
right? And that's ultimately what you can always promise yourself as a small business owner, is that you need to be better than you were last week. You need to be better than you were last month. I can't become a millionaire overnight, but as long as I'm taking the right steps and I'm putting in the work and I'm seeing progress, then I'm winning.
Wow.
Well, there you go.
And how do people get in touch with you again?
ChelseaPeace.com has everything you need to know about me, all of my socials, my podcast, the early readers list if you want to read my book about how I came to find my passion through my divorce. And then I also have all of my marketing piece and my life coaching on there as well.
Wow.
Well, we wish you the best in your business and the clients that you serve. Shara, we got to wrap up another one here.
I know. My mind is blown right now. Trying to
Well, that's what
absorb
we
all
like to
this.
do here is blow people's minds,
Yes.
build those bridges, and I'm rather proud of what we've created here at B3.
Mhm. I agree.
You guys are doing something awesome.
I love that.
Mhm.
Getting your 30 minutes of fame instead of your 30 seconds.
Yes. And this is what builds trust and authority with the community.
Mhm.
It's getting raw and knowing the person, because I've always believed in that. It's not about your name tag or your business. It's about you, and people trust you.
Mhm.
Oh, your personal brand?
No way.
Oh my God. No, it's like, you should hit me up.
We'll see you again next time.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
joining us today.
Things are truly better with us.